Yeah, I'm unmuted.
You're good to go then.
We're good to go. Hello, everybody. You are tuned into the 9th episode of Greatest Hits here on the Hundreds TV. My name is Free J Boozy, and I am taking you into the Hundreds archive every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Tuesday, we'll pull timeless classics out of the vault and tell you the stories behind each of them, as well as talk to the designers and the creatives that brought them to life. Now, while you watch, you'll be able to chat with other viewers and ask us questions about your favorite classics from the hundreds past. You can also hit the shopping cart tab and purchase these one-of-one pieces to add to your personal collection. Now, before we get into this week's haul from the vault, I just wanted to let you know there's a few pieces that are still available from last week, like the Adam Rose Grateful Dead collab tee. I am here with the one and only John Hundreds. John, how are you, my friend? Welcome back to the show.
Thank
It's
you.
very good to have you, man.
Thank you.
So what's up, man? Does this bring back any memories?
This does. I
Yeah?
can't believe we're putting this up for sale and no one's bought it yet.
I know, right?
What's wrong with you guys? Come on. Seriously.
So yeah, again, if you hit the shopping cart tab, you can collect. Every single Tuesday we release new products, and yeah, so this is from last week's Grateful Dead haul. You can also watch the episode from last week, episode 8, if you want. So yeah, again, this was the first time Grateful Dead was ever officially licensed and the graphics were actually altered. So John, anything stand out about the design of the screen printing process to you?
This one was a little bit difficult for the gradient inside the 80 and the letters. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Most of the stuff is just straight spot. The gradient on the inside of the back right there is a little bit tough. The pixels on the inside in here takes a little bit of time to get taken care of during the separation process, but that's a badass tee.
Yeah, that's a good
it.
one, right? So how did you get into screen printing in the first place?
When we bought our screen printers in 2009, screen printers wanted out of the business, and they came to us with an offer basically that Ben, Bob, and I couldn't refuse. And then
an offer you cannot refuse.
Literally, we could not refuse.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we were basically 80% of their business at the time, and they just were kind of over the whole screen printing business as a whole, and they just came to us with a pretty decent offer to take over their business, and we just history from there.
And so, at what point did you guys? So the viewers can't see, but we're at the Hundreds headquarters right now in Vernon, California, and we have a huge printables production facility that John Hundreds here is the full operator of. And when I say like a huge production facility, how many screen presses do you have back there?
We have 5 automatics right now, 2 16 colors, which one of them is an oversized with a 23 by 34 inch 23 inch width by 34 inch height in print area. And then we have a compact 10 where we do basically built for speed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have another 10 color, and then we have a 12 color. And then we also have 2 sample machines, 16 color chameleons.
Okay, cool. So when did you actually start like using the equipment? Was it when you guys like acquired all of the gear, or was that something that you did prior to like acquiring the business from those people?
Say that again?
So like when did you like actually start like physically screen printing stuff? Was it like the sort of process you just dove into, or were you doing this prior?
I started I kind of was just thrown into the mix.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what you were saying last time is like, right. That's the only way to really learn this trade, right?
There is no school for this. Basically, if you want to learn how to do it, you just got to go look for a company that does it, jump into it, and then you learn the process from there. Okay. This isn't something you can go to school for.
Yeah.
It's not like graphic design. Graphic design you can go to school for. Even the color separation process of it all, that is something also that I think you can go to some kind of graphic design trade school that will somewhat teach you, but in order to be really good at it, mm-hmm. you need to be somebody's apprentice underneath them to learn, because that's where the process starts, is all in the separation of all the graphic design. Okay. That's what really makes the print come out really nice.
Okay, cool. So we got some heat today, man. Anything stand out to you?
Obviously the Punisher tee, the Brooklyn Projects tee.
Okay, so let's start with the Punisher tee because it already sold. So this is like probably my favorite hundreds t-shirt for a couple of reasons, right? So when you come to the hundreds HQ, you know, everybody's like an art lover here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything from fine art to like pop art or whatever.
Yeah.
And David Cho is literally like such, not only a great artist, but such like a legendary cultural figure. You know what I'm saying? Like the dude's just like a maniac. And so, of course, when you come into the office, there's like some original Dave Cho drawings, right? Of like how this collab actually like came about.
Yeah.
So here's the story. It's 2012. The Hundreds is doing a collab with Marvel. They're developing all these ideas. They think they want to do kind of like a retrospective of picking each of their favorite Marvel people. But to start, who's your favorite Marvel character?
I would probably have to say Punisher.
All right, so me too,
Yeah.
right?
I'll probably
And
have to say that. Yeah.
I also really liked the Punisher movie from the 2000s with John Travolta. Not everybody else. Not everybody else liked it as much
What's
as
funny is I
me.
just actually watched it on TV a couple
Yeah,
weeks ago.
it's so solid.
It's so bad that it's
so
good.
bad that it's good. It's like watching, you know, it's like got the
Exactly.
corniness of comic books in a lot of ways. Okay, so the Punisher is also my favorite, right? And so they were coming up with the design process, and they were going to choose a bunch of different people in the Marvel universe to work on. But then they realized that there was another competitor, you know, that was also doing a collab.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden y'all were like kind of blindsided, like, oh shit, this whole thing we've been working on, like another streetwear brand, like literally down the street from us is like doing the same thing. So do you remember what that streetwear brand was?
I have no idea.
Okay, so it was Babe, right? So there was essentially, yeah, they had him all the way into bed doing this licensing deal. And they're like, oh wait, by the way, like this other brand that's like a printables based brand is doing a collab too. So they're like, oh fuck. So they scrapped all the ideas, and then they really just wanted to hone in onto one character, which is kind of the Punisher, right? And I feel like everybody really likes the Punisher for a couple of reasons. One, he's a normal guy. He's like, and he's not Bruce Wayne, right? He's not a billionaire.
Exactly.
Right? So people are like, oh, Batman's like just a guy. Like, no, his superpower is his dad's money. It's like the trust fund. You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, do your thing. Batman feels sick and shit. But the Punisher is just like, I am here to avenge, and I'm here to undo the wrong.
Exactly.
Also, the other thing I really like about the Punisher that not too many superheroes really have is like, you know, Superman doesn't kill people, Batman doesn't kill people. Like the Punisher is an assassin.
Oh,
like,
it's
you know
all
what
out
I mean?
war on everybody.
All
It doesn't
out
matter
war.
who it is. It's all out war.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
exactly. So,
That's why I think everybody likes him though.
yeah, for sure. And just like the American muscle, just like the whole very like rugged. I mean, just like look at the design. It's just like
He's got two
very,
machine. He's holding two machine guns.
It's just like very dystopian.
You know what I mean?
It's just very, very dystopian. We're gonna get a zoom in on this. Cool. So, you know, it's very industrial, very punk, very dystopian. And so what's really cool is this was illustrated by David Cho, right? And so David Cho is kind of just like a legendary cultural figure, like I was just touching on. Born and raised Koreatown, Los Angeles, right? Parents are Korean immigrants. Him and Bobby were friends, and then, do you know him as well?
I don't personally know him.
Okay, so the only other person that is said to like Punisher as much as like Ben and Bobby is David Cho, right?
Yeah.
And so there's this whole thing. Him and his brother, when they were kids, they would make bootleg Punisher tees and go sell them out of the backpack at Comic-Con, right? So it's this sort of like, honestly, it's like basically like streetwear. You know, you're peddling your own shit like in the scene. You know what I mean? And so they thought David Cho would be the perfect person to like, you know, reinterpret Punisher. And so Bobby said this was at the same time where like David Cho was just like all in and out of the press with like his Facebook shares and stuff. So here's a legendary story. David Cho is a painter, right? Muralist, multimedia artist. He was hired and commissioned to paint some walls in the original Facebook office. And so of course he did it, and they were like, all right, cool, we'll give you 60 bands, or we can give you stock in this company that is unsuccessful and hasn't turned a profit. He's like, well, I'm a degenerate gambler. So let me take some stock, right? And so then when the company went public in 2012, his shares were estimated at $200 million. So not only is he just like already a crazy artist, but now he's like tech money rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So communication kind of broke down between him and Bobby was saying that like, Bobby Hundreds was saying he would just in the middle of the night get a bunch of random dumps of like sketches that David Cho would do of Punisher, and Bobby's like, oh, this is fucking tight. Like, let me drag this in here and whatnot. And so actually, to your right, we have some of these original drawings. So yeah, we'll start with that one because it's the same as the t-shirt. Cool. So this is the original drawing. We're gonna try to get a zoom up because the glare is kind of heavy. Okay, so this is what was submitted to David Cho digitally, right? And then eventually they got the original copy. And so what's cool about this is like a hand-drawn thing.
Exactly.
It also kind of shows you
It's got like random.
yeah, it's got like random ass doodles on the side, like
Yeah.
this horse without a head.
It's so
Like
David Cho.
it's so David Cho,
It's so
right?
David Cho.
And so what's really cool is like this is completely from his imagination of the Punisher. This isn't like a licensed graphic. This is something straight. And so what's really cool is this was one of the original. This is a
Yeah.
t-shirt from the collab. So John, can you tell us a little bit about how this piece of paper drawing can become a screen print?
So basically, with something like this, it has to be scanned into a computer and then redrawn with into the computer using, like a tablet and a pen.
Mhm.
And then from there, it gets turned into an AI file, Photoshop file, and then it's given over to us. And my art separator, he goes in and then separates everything. The tricky thing about something that's hand drawn like this, when it goes to print, you only see one color here, which is black.
Yeah.
But truly, there's 5 different blacks in there.
Yeah.
Because to get all the fine lines that are all in through here, all inside of here, we can't print this all at once. So basically what we have to do is print all the heavy lines, then we have to print the softer lines, then print the softer lines, and then print the soft lines in order to get all the small little details that are all within inside here. So it's technically, I mean, with something like this, all hand drawn, it's very, very difficult to print, as opposed to, the shirt behind you is the Brooklyn Projects. That's like 13 colors or whatever. But truly, this is something that is a little bit more difficult to print. It's actually like kind of like printing like a piece of artwork. It's literally like that's how it is. But those are the things that you have to take into consideration when printing something like this.
Okay, so I didn't realize that in order to create the shadowing and the correct gradient, that it's actually layers of black.
Yeah, you have to do it that way
Okay, cool.
in order to make it come out.
And even with these like white spots, like that's interpreted as a white, like there's no fill there, but there's still like some gradient to like
Exactly.
make it shine. Okay. I
It
see.
all has to be basically treated as its own color, even though everything is the same color black.
Mhm. Awesome. So yeah, again, this was part of the 2012 Marvel The Hundreds collab, where we focused on the Punisher for that series. There's actually a lot of great blog content if you want to see some of the other graphics and designs from that collection. This piece has sold out. So every 4 p.m., we put a new batch of inventory up. It's first come, first serve. All this stuff is one of one. And a lot of this stuff has never really been online because it's like some older Hundreds pieces.
Yeah.
This piece in particular was, but some other pieces that we're going to segue to, like the Brooklyn Projects tee. So again, we're just going to get a quick detail shot. David Cho, the Hundreds. David, we hope you're doing well. Cool. All right, so this tee is really exciting because this is actually the first time this tee is ever available online through the Hundreds. Like you could dig for it on eBay and whatnot, but this was a tee that was only released in store on St. Patrick's Day. And there was a green colorway that Don did, and we did the black.
Right.
And so this graphic is done by Mark McKee, who, I don't know if you know much about his art, but he is probably one of the most influential and best skateboard illustrators ever. He did all of the original like blind graphics, with, like the little kid sickle,
Yeah.
just like kind of the most iconic World Industries, Wet Boy or Flamboyant Wet Willie, all that stuff. He's kind of like the most iconic like skateboard graphic guy, right? And so I guess just kind of starting back from square one, this is Brooklyn Projects collab, right?
Yep.
Brooklyn Dom, of course, is the legendary VJ from Headbangers Ball
Yeah.
in the 90s, right? Madman.
Yeah.
Just how did you meet Dom? Like, how did that
I
relationship
met
with,
Dom
like,
through
everybody?
Ben and Bobby.
Okay.
And obviously Dom is just a figure in the streetwear world through his shop, Brooklyn
Yeah.
Projects.
So can you talk about Melrose a little bit back then too?
Melrose was way different back then.
So Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles is probably one of the biggest sneaker shopping areas in the world, probably, right? Like,
yeah, I would say probably in the world.
yeah, okay. So
because like every other block has a shop now.
Every other block is a shop.
I mean, they're not legit shops, they're reseller shops. They're not like what I mean by legit is like Foot Locker or things like that. The only one back then, sneaker wise, legit was Sporty LA.
Yeah.
And Sporty LA used to get all the crazy jump offs back then.
And also Sporty LA was so interesting because they had like so many different like weird locations.
Exactly.
Like, why does one store need like 20 stores that are all small?
And they're within like a little area, you know what I mean? It made no sense.
So,
but
okay.
Sporty LA was the only one back then. In Brooklyn Projects, they had all the SBs.
Back when SBs were underappreciated and slept on.
I mean, they're not like how it is today.
Yeah,
today this is the craziest I've ever seen SBs like. But I mean, back then it was like, other than that, it was like weird club gear. There was no streetwear whatsoever on Melrose back then. It was the other streetwear was Workman's Outlet, and that's not there anymore.
Yeah. Okay. I've heard about Workman's Outlet too.
That was like your t-shirt.
That's where they had like tables of t-shirts, right?
Yeah. Or like it was like one big table and it had like a pyramid of just random t-shirts. T-shirts that didn't have brand names in them either. It was just printed t-shirts with the All Style label in there, or Gildan, or
they ain't taking no time to cut the tags out.
No. It's straight up just like that. It was kind of crazy.
So Brooklyn Dom, Brooklyn Projects, located on Melrose Avenue. Still today, one of the spots that you can actually get the cop, you know what I mean, get the SBs and shit. So what have you copped recently, John? So I spent many years working on Melrose in sneaker shops and the whole resale game. I haven't been in the, I call it in the trenches. You know what I mean? When you're in the retail game and like all your other homies work in retail, and then you're trying to find out what party is later that night. You're trying to find out what homie's designing what product, what dude's getting off the retail floor became a designer at said brand. So for me, like, I always say this, like, if you ever want to go to a city and find out what's hip, go to the hippest store and talk to the employees.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so Melrose is kind of like that for me and whatnot, but I haven't really been in the trenches recently, like in the retail game. So I was just wondering what is out there, like what has dropped in terms of heat sneakers in like the last, say, like, let's say 4 months.
To be honest, dude, I mean, you can't even say anything right now because of everything that's going on in the world with the whole COVID hitting us so hard. Things really aren't dropping. So it's been kind of dry the past 5 to 6 months, even though there's still like, for instance, I had a homie hit me up a couple weeks ago that wants a pair of the Off-White Jordan 4s that are like really off-white. So other than that, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, Yeezy's been kind of quiet. Virgil hasn't really put much out.
The only thing I can think about is the Grateful Dead SB.
And that is...
Which, if you copped, would match this shirt perfectly. But yeah, in terms of like, also Sean Witherspoon's got an ASIC coming out. But other than that, like the SBs and like all that, like, and the Jordan 4s. Do you think I think the sneaker scene just kind of died down with COVID, right? I mean, the whole industry in general and the whole like false economy within the sneaker trade, it is a very like, you got to be in person, you got to be in the mix, like.
I mean, you definitely do. With, like you said, with the whole COVID and everything going on, I feel like it's made the sneaker game even bigger. I think things are way overinflated in prices and everything. But as far as the sneaker game being dead, I don't think it's dead at all. I think it's aliver than it's ever been. I think everybody's
just hibernating.
Everyone's just hibernating, waiting to see what's going to happen. The market's really fucked up right now in regards to sneakers. I mean, you see it, even regular dunks, like the Syracuse, the St. John, the Kentuckys, all those lows are popping off.
Yeah, and it's like also crazy to me because like some of the dunks that I wouldn't have paid $220 for in the first place 4 years ago are now $1,000, and I'm like,
Exactly.
really? Like the shoe I passed on,
Yeah.
right? The shoe I passed on that was like, actually, nah. You know what I mean? Is now the
Dunks
grail
are straight.
piece.
Yeah, straight up. Dunks, SBs especially are.
Yeah.
Every SB that comes out right now is going over retail,
Uh-huh.
which is crazy.
It wasn't really like that.
It was
used to be
never like
it used
that.
to be like the day it dropped, it'd be maybe $80 over retail.
You
a month
used to be able to get them under retail.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
So, centering back to the shirts, Brooklyn Projects is one of those secret cop places where you can still actually like get a pair of SBs, enter raffles, etc. But yeah, so this is the first time the shirt has ever been available online. Only 50 were made. Mark McKee, if you want to check out any of his art, it's like such a rabbit hole. There's like amazing designs and stuff. And so yeah, like I was saying, you know, World Industries, Almost, like very, very well-known, Blind, very, very extremely well-known and culturally significant graphic-driven brands were kind of led by this guy. So with the design process, does anything stand out to you on this t-shirt, John?
This one was actually exceptionally difficult to do because of all the colors that are in it. This took us, I think, 2 different tries to get done. Just with all the different kinds of greens that are in here and the browns. When colors are close like this together, it's harder to print. You got like 2 or 3 different greens in here, 3 or 4 different browns in here, an off-white, you got that red in there. So when you have something that's like 20 colors, there's not many 20 color machines around. So you have to really take that 20 colors and break it down into 14, 13, 12 to make it fit on the machine.
Yeah.
Like even back then, there wasn't really even 16 color machines around back then. This was 2012.
I believe this was, check my notes.
I feel like it was before that.
No, I think it was 08.
It was 08?
Yeah.
So there you go. So even in 08, there wasn't that, 16 color machines around. So
Yeah.
we most likely printed this on a 12 color machine because there wasn't anything like that around back then. So we really had to take something that was 20 colors and break it down to 10 so we could fit it on the machine. But this was fun to print. That's 100%. This was
also, so this was like a St. Patrick's Day special. Brooklyn Dawn dropped 50 in a green colorway. The Hundreds dropped 50 in black. And so it's really cool because, St. Patrick's Day Irish stuff. There's like the classic, the Hundreds whiskey with the atom bomb hit, which is so hard.
He's basically sitting out with bag with sack of
potatoes
and like a lettuce field. That's kind of crazy.
And then the Brooklyn Projects logo locker, or Brooklyn Projects whiskey bottle as well. You're gonna do a detail shot of this. So if you're just joining us, you're watching Greatest Hits on the Hundreds television. My name is Free J Boozy. I'm joined with John Hundreds. And we are here every single Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. This is a live shopping network. So all of the pieces we are covering today are currently available for sale. If you do tap on the shopping cart tab, if you have any questions, you can always hit the chat room as well. John is here, has very, very deep knowledge in terms of everything production and streetwear and printables. So yeah, let's move on, man. Let's take a break from t-shirts really quick. Talk about Public Label, man. So I know this isn't necessarily your world.
Yeah, this really isn't my world.
But so essentially, the Hundreds have just been crushing it with printables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the story goes is like a lot of the stuff you guys were making wasn't always necessarily what you all were wearing. Right? And so especially with like guys like Pat that were around and stuff, the whole sort of minimal approach to like focusing on unbranded garments that like kind of just fit well, like timeless pieces. So it's kind of like how Public Label started in 2006, if I believe. So yeah, man, like what was exactly going on like behind the scenes when like Public Label started? I know you were focusing on the printables thing, but how did this like kind of come up?
Public Label was made more for a premium feel. That was the mindset behind it. That's why there's very minimal branding, because you see with not premium, but higher end clothing brands, there's not much branding on it. Which you can see here is just, the white little flag. I love this touch when we were doing this. It's basically a flag label that you could either leave it on or take it off. It's sewn into the garment, but at the same time, you can take it off if you want. A lot of the time I left it on. A lot of time I did take it off too. But public label was, like you said, more fitted. It was more stuff that Pat would wear, I would wear, my brother would wear, Bobby would wear. And it was basically, a lot of it, I think, was taken from vintage pieces that we either had in our closets or stuff that we found out at vintage stores. But
and that's
public
always
label,
what vintage has been good for.
exactly.
It's just like, you know, fashion comes in cycles and trends, but it's just like,
I mean, you know that best
Yeah,
because you were the one
sure.
that was in the depth of working
yeah,
at
exactly.
a
So
vintage store.
one thing I've really realized with the whole hunt for vintage pieces as references, you know, America used to be and this isn't political at all. I'm just saying facts. America used to be a country of production, right?
Yeah,
This used to be
100%.
the textile industry was gigantic, was almost rivaled the coal
Yeah.
industry. You know what I mean? So at one point in America, I'm saying industrial revolution, the skills of weaving and the skills of cotton production and the skills of textile manufacturing was far superior, right?
Mhm.
So this tradition started to get lost in the transition of the 60s, 70s, and 80s when production went to China and overseas because, of course, overhead, cheaper production costs, et cetera. But what was really lost in America was the knowledge of the craft, the
Mhm.
knowledge of the actual production of textiles. And I'm not saying like cut and sew, I'm saying like
But
how this denim gets treated and pieced together. You know what I
Well,
mean?
now it's become more mom and pop places. It's not big, huge industrial warehouses
Yeah.
that are making this product. Now it's more mom and pop, small production houses that are putting these kinds of garments together that are made in the US. One, because it's expensive, but the US did lose that only because 90% of it went to China. So nobody here was pushing the envelope.
Or really
on-
saw the skills as valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the main
So-
point.
And that's the whole really cool thing about like skilled work that I think is like kind of lost in the translation from square one of production to the consumer is like, you know, people buy this stuff because, you know, it's an expression of themselves and their interests
Right.
and they want to look fashionable and
Yeah,
keep up
yeah.
with the times. But when you go back to like kind of like the base of it, the people that are producing this
Mhm.
clothing are not really the people that are buying it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like really interesting to kind of see like that disconnect with like consumer and producer. But these people that are the mom and pop producers are bridging that gap a little more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
just like, you know, you always see like these designers and whatnot that like make pants, for instance, and it's some like sort of quirky 60-year-old guy that has Tom Sachs on and like
Yeah.
a crazy pair of pants and a white tee. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like the brainiac designer
Mhm.
behind this production. So stuff like that. But yeah, it's very interesting to see what you said about like the mom and pop stuff. But of course, like this piece was at the height of the hundreds, like sort of this is like crazy production. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like crazy numbers.
We would
like,
consider that, yeah.
yeah. So what's really cool about this piece is you were saying timeless stuff. I mean, this does have just like a very, very good workwear aesthetic.
Mhm.
Also, pieces like this, man, for me, it's not about how a piece looks when it's new. It's about how a piece looks in 10 years.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
When it's worn in,
when it's
broken in.
worn in, broken in, how it's
Yeah.
actually going to be living and breathing. And this is one of those pieces that you can really like settle into your life. You know what I mean? And you know, just like all the kind of fading you get by using the pockets and stuff, all this stuff is like very unique. And just like the wear on the shoulder blade and stuff, all like very unique, like in the trenches, so to say. Oh, you like that? Full circle plot, baby. See? No, but again, so if you're watching, you're just tuning in, Hunter's Greatest Hits, going over product through the Hunter's archive. This piece is available for sale now. It's a public label jacket. It's got the public label, this is a rare tag these days because this stuff actually isn't produced by the Hundreds anymore. This was a higher end, minimalist, unbranded, more focused around like essential pieces rather than printables. And again, all purchases for Greatest Hits come with the official Greatest Hits merchandise collection tag. Also, let's just talk about this tag. I be shopping a lot. You know what I mean? This label is fire.
Yeah, this is pretty sick.
You know what I mean? It's like a nice like nylon, it's like a very, very thin plastic. You know?
I That's a good looking label.
And the whole thing is like, it's the little details of the clothing production. It's the labels, it's the tags, it's the placement of the buttons.
It's the attention to
It's the
detail.
attention to detail that
Yeah.
creates a whole product. And that's like not only what this public label piece is saying, but also like what the greatest hits tag is saying.
What we got next?
Let's cover the 40s and shorties really quick.
All right.
So 40s and shorties, I think this is an interesting story because 40s and shorties was like, to me, this is like the result of the internet. You know what I mean? Not in any like bad way or anything, but so 40s and shorties started as like an emoji brand where they were making custom emojis like the Gucci man face and shit, like
Okay.
way back when, right? Turned into like a sock brand, which then kind of formed into like an apparel brand. And so they were always really known for their socks. And so this was like a capsule from 2015
I didn't even know that.
that was done. And you know, it's the classic Fairfax Rosewood,
Yeah.
where so much shit happened for so many people for so many years. You know what I mean? And so if you're from Los Angeles or if you've ever visited here, Fairfax is what I would say the unofficial, official shopping like streetwear district of Los Angeles.
I mean, I would say it's the streetwear mecca of the
The
world.
world, right? Because if you look at like
Yeah.
Soho in New York, like yeah, there were shops in Soho, especially in the 2010s,
Yeah.
but there was nothing like boom, boom, boom,
That's what I'm trying to
boom,
say.
boom,
Both
boom.
sides of the street.
Both sides of the street.
For the entire block.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that out there. I mean, I've never been to Japan or Tokyo or any of the, out there, but I hear the shopping experience out there is bar none.
Yeah.
But as far as both sides of the street, like you said, boom, 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 there's nothing like it in the world. Nothing.
And so what's really cool about that is like every brand, since they are door to door, you kind of have to carve out your own lane. You have to kind of carve
Yeah.
out your own voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Hundreds is kind of like a brand that really helped other brands like that kind of carve out. I feel like
Yeah.
this is kind of an example of that. But again, dead is stock. Sold. Tight. This guy sold. We're gonna
This
get
one
to
right
it.
here?
Yeah. Tight. So this 40s and shorties Rosewood Fairfax logo lockup. It's cool screen printing and logo lockup on the bottom as well. This is cool. It's a random pair of socks. 2015. Great collab. Great dudes also. Because Drew Bird is one of 5 people in 40s and shorties, I'm pretty sure. Drew Bird is an amazing DJ, right? He has this thing called Shaba with this other DJ, Sean G. They're like the best DJs in LA right now. They had the best parties pre-COVID. Dude, trying to get into a Shaba at Los Globos was like the most stressful part of my month. Like, holy
Come
shit.
on.
Dude, you know, it's like, you know, you trying to like pull up, it's like, yeah, I work with the homies like on the DJ shit. And it's like you pulling up and there's like so many girls everywhere. And then like you pull up, they know you can get in. It's like, Justin, like, can you get us in? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, dog, I can like barely get myself in. The security guard's mad as fuck at me because he knows me, but he's gonna let me cut all these people in front of him. You know what I mean? And so he's pissed. I'm like, yo, let me get like these 6 girls in. And he's like, dog, you're fucking killing me. So it's just like, I'm already sweating before I even get up to the bar.
Yeah.
You know, then I gotta fucking walk upstairs and pay $12 for drinks all night. But best party in LA, best music. And so it's just cool because like, you know, streetwear and music kind of intersect a lot. And like 40s and shorties definitely has a backbone of music. Very similar to the Hundreds too, like having guys like Spit around and guys like me around and stuff. So this is for sale. Do a little quick detail shot. Sick. I still can't get over the quality of the camera.
I know, I'm tripping.
You know, like, it's
I'm
so
sitting
nice.
here and I'm looking at the computer screen and I'm like, damn, man, my iPhone does not look this
not
good.
that good.
I need to get a new camera.
Can I get a product check on this? What's this one called, dude? Peace.
Peace.
All right, so this is like just so Bobby Hundreds to me.
100%.
You know what I mean? This is just like so what was really sick is this guy, the OG
The
Adam
OG.
tag was just like, so if you find the Adam tag, it's like some very, very good OG Hundreds. But yeah, this shit is just like so Bobby because with Bobby, it's always an illustrated graphic that has a very deep meaning, right? So it's something as simple as peace, you know what I mean, to your face, then cross your fingers behind your back.
Peace, war.
You know what I mean? Peace versus war, man, you know? And so it's like the whole social commentary, like, I think kind of speaks to LA.
It's like this is so LA. It's like smile in your face, talk shit behind your back.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
exactly what that is.
And you know, it's like it's easy and hard. It's like easy but also hard to like navigate around that stuff in Los Angeles. And people are always saying, "Oh, Los Angeles is so fucking fake. Like everybody's so whack, only thinks of themselves." It's like, yeah, but part of Los Angeles is like you are part of the company you keep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you surround yourself with better people, like you're clearly not gonna like really,
Exactly.
like, who are you saying that about? Like some guy that like didn't let you sit at your table at his table at a
Yeah,
club?
right.
You know what I mean? Like what really happened, you know?
Exactly.
But I think this is like a very good social commentary of just like that kind of that like sort of reputation that LA is just like this city that's too cool for itself. You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, it was really cool. It's like just like OG hundreds.
This has to be
what
like
era
what?
does this bring you back to?
This label right here, this has to be like mid 2000s.
So I think
do we have a year on
06.
this? This is 06?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So this was the year that we opened up Rosewood.
Yeah. So this is
This t-shirt's 15 years old, 14 years old. I don't even think I was around. I might have been around when this came out, and I might have printed this. I'm not even sure.
so many tees have gone by.
You know what the best part about this shows me is this is an all-style tee, and this tee is exactly the same today.
So All Style has not changed their cut.
The only thing that has changed a tiny bit is the neck has, I think, gone down maybe an eighth of an inch, quarter of an inch.
And so,
but
you know, that's actually a really interesting point, John, because people always like the designs of t-shirts, but choosing the blank is almost more important.
100% it is. I mean, to this day, everyone's always, I don't want to use all style. I don't want to use all style. Everyone uses all style. At the end of the day, all style makes the best blank t-shirt for the money that they charge. You will not get any more bang for your buck out of a t-shirt than an all style tee. Well made. As you can see, it holds up 15 years later. You can wash this thing 100 times, 100 fucking times, and it will not fall apart. Might shrink a little bit, as all cotton does, but you know, it stands the test of time. That I guarantee.
So of course, like, you know, just my experiences screen printing and whatnot, All Style definitely is like the fairest price, like the fairest, like, you know what you're going to get, you know what I mean? It's going to be solid enough to sell, solid enough to like be able to take good e-com shots. People are going to get it. They're not going to be pissed on the quality.
Right.
Like, you know, what's the worst is like when the screen print is too thick and the cotton tee is too soft.
Yeah, I hate that.
That is like the worst nightmare. You just waited 2 weeks for this fucking $42 shirt to come to your crib.
That's actually a really good point that you brought up, because with this, that doesn't happen.
No, it does not happen. And so that's one of the reasons I really like All Style also. But in terms of like some people that are into production and like looking into how to kind of get t-shirts produced, what are some other blanks that are like reliable?
Other blanks that I mean, to me, my favorite t-shirt other than All Style is the Comfort Colors. It's much more expensive, but you won't get a better t-shirt if you want to spend the money than a Comfort Colors. Comfort Colors is good. If you want something that's light and not too heavy like this, I would go with either Next Level, Bella Canvas. If you want something heavy made in the USA, LA Apparel is good. Port & Company, I think, makes a good one. There's another few other made in USA ones, but obviously made in USA, you're looking at an expensive blank t-shirt.
Of course. I like LA Apparel because and Comfort Colors, because those tees, like, you can really wear them.
Yeah.
I mean, those are like some of the more durable t-shirts, and I don't really see as much shrinking and stuff as that. But again, All Style is the classic, is the standard. Unfortunately, this piece has sold, so it's going to a great new home. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is Greatest Hits live shopping channel every Thursday here at 4 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, John, coming to the end of the line, my friend. So we dropped a Ron English tee a few weeks ago. The Adam one sold well for us. Ended up snagging this one off of eBay, size small. What's really cool about that is we haven't really sold too many small tees. So for the petite gentlemen and the ladies, size small. Ron English, of course, just like very prolific, very imaginary artist. But yeah, anything stand out to you about this tee?
Just once again, dude, this is another high color t-shirt. You can see all the different halftones that are in here, different colors. You got yellow, it's like a gold to a brown. You got the red in here and in here. You got the pinks. The thing that really makes this print is the halftones. Halftones are really hard to capture. So obviously in the separation process, the separation artist needs to know what he's doing when it comes to halftones.
Okay. So, I mean, it's really just like so much more that goes into how a t-shirt pops and hits than just like the initial design and it being a cool person that designed it, or, you know what I mean? And so it's really cool to kind of like have like a formal science behind how to relay the graphic and the artwork to the consumer as best as possible. And that's like literally what like your job is, right? So yeah, again, this is available size small on Greatest Hits now. We'll go ahead and do a detail shot. Awesome. All right, John. Well, my friend, that's what we got for this episode.
Sick.
Thank you so much for stopping by, man. It's
100%.
always so fun hanging out with you and talking about all
My
of this
pleasure.
shit.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, and just like learning the process, and you have such a wealth of knowledge. And yeah, man, John Hundreds, everybody. So that's it for this episode. It's for this week's episode of Greatest Hits. Thank you, John. Thank you for everybody who has copped a piece or tuned in. We're here every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Hundreds TV, and hit the Hundreds app or online shop to get your hands on any of the Greatest Hits pieces you saw featured on today's show. Make sure to give us a follow, the Hundreds Greatest Hits. I am Free J Boozy. I will see you next week. Thank you very much.
Peace.